What's happening, champ?
Hello.
How are you?
Oh yeah,
What's happening, those things?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. It could be a worse Monday, but it's a good Monday. So look, we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it.
Oh, good.
Listen, Savannah, we appreciate you coming on. We know you're very busy as always, but it's an absolute honour, first of all, to have you on. You know, we're big fans here in Ireland. You know, I've been to many of your fights. You know, I was lucky enough to see you in Las Vegas on that pro debut. So,
Oh, brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant, yeah.
I'm a massive fan.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, thanks for having me on.
well, anytime. So, like, we have to talk first of all the early days. Obviously, look, you started quite young. Like, how did boxing come about for you first day, Savannah?
I first started when the boxing gym when I was about 11. None of my family boxed. There's no history of fighting in my family or anything like that. But one of my friends used to box, and I always remember him going here, there, and everywhere with the boxing, winning tournaments and things like that. So I just ended up following him to the gym when I was 11, and it just went from there.
And like amateur-wise, you've done it all. To be fair, you know what I mean. Like world champion. I think you were the first British female to win a world championship.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, you must have been good from the go. Like, what was it like entering the gym first day? Can you remember taking the first punch? Because people say, look, you take the punch, you like it or you don't like it. But obviously, you must have liked it. No, you don't get punched. You don't get punched too often.
I like, do you know what I loved about it? I loved I'm very competitive, and I loved the training. So I remember when I first went, I wasn't allowed to spar for months. I think it was because I was a female. It was the first time that I had a female in the gym. So I wasn't allowed to spar, but I just loved the training. I loved how everything was a competition. Who could hit the bags the most in a round, who could, do the most press ups, who could do this, who could do it. So I think initially I fell in love with the training more than anything else.
And like that's a big thing. You always hear, like, the elite female boxers talk about, like, the sparring back in the day. Like, I've spoke to Katie Taylor numerous times, and like it is hard for females to get the sparring, especially, like, many years ago. But like it's down to yourself and these big names that are changing the way boxing is today for females. So obviously you put in a lot of hard work. But why do you reckon it was so hard to get good sparring back in them days?
Well, I've always sparred boys anyway, but I think it was just, the lack of females. I remember I had my first fight when I was 12, and then I didn't have another fight. Then I had a return on the girls' show, and then I didn't have another fight for 2 years because there was no females about. And I was always very big for my age. I think I think my first fight when I was 11, I was 60 kilo. So I was big for 11-year-old. And then I think at 14, I think I must have been about 66, something like that. So it was hard enough because I was such a big girl anyway. But yeah, the lack of female competitors, it was next to none.
Definitely. Like, what age do you reckon you were at where you taught yourself, right, look, I can go on to big things here and, become a world champion in the amateur games? Did you realise that quite young in your age?
No, not really. No. It's a bit of a weird one. I don't think I ever believed how good I was as an amateur. It was kind of at 17, I got onto the GB squad. 18, I won a silver in the World Championships at 18, European champion, everything. And then, like I said, at 17, I got on the GB squad. So I went from college straight to being on, that program. And it kind of just snowballed. I feel like I never really had a chance to think, wow, look how far I've come. Because it was literally, I went to a tournament that I was totally alien to. I was beating top girls that had been number one for years on the circuit. And I never really had a chance to sit back and think, wow, I'm actually good at this.
Yeah. And like that team GB program must be good because, look, in Ireland, we cry out for that. Obviously, look, our only good sport in Ireland when it comes to the Olympics and stuff is boxing. Yeah. But we obviously they're trying to get there. But obviously the Team G program is huge. Obviously that was a big benefit to you moving forward.
Yeah, it was. It really was. I think it's kind of, it set me up for how I am now. A lot of my friends say that I'm quite institutionalized because of the way I am, the way I handle my weight, the way I eat, the way I train. I'm quite focused, and I think it's because it's been instilled in me from that being 17. But obviously with Ireland, Ireland, I think their program maybe was set up the same time as the GB one.
Yeah.
And you'd go to tournaments, and very rarely Ireland wouldn't get a medal.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show how important these programs are.
And you were quite intelligent. I heard that. I was like, you know what I mean? In school and stuff, you were a bit of a brainiac, were you? You know what I mean? You were quite...
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't at all. I studied hard. I'm dyslexic, to be honest. But I've just done a degree, but it was hard. It was really hard. I put a lot of effort into it. So it didn't come easy at all.
No. And like, obviously, look, you had many options, man. We know, World Championships as the amateur. You know what I mean? We know you pretty much done it all as an amateur. We know Floyd Mayweather came about. We know Money May was interested. He wanted to get you on board. Obviously, look, that was a good thing. That was a really good thing. Pound for pound, probably one of the greatest of all time. People will say he's the greatest, but like, obviously, pro debut, Las Vegas. I happened to be there. Many of us Irish went out there and had a great week. I won't say a few days we were out there for the week, but look, obviously it was great to kick it off in Las Vegas for you, and obviously, working team up with Mayweather at that time.
Yeah, 100%. I was gonna walk away from the sport in 2016 after Rio. I'd had enough, and then obviously I got the news that Mayweather Promotions wanted to sign me. So for me, it was kind of a gift from above. I remember thinking, someone upstairs doesn't want me to retire. It's meant to be. So that was kind of, looking back now, was a godsend, because if he never, piped up and said he wanted to sign me, I probably would have walked away from the sport.
Yeah. I think it's probably fair to say, look, you don't have to comment, but like, we know, unfortunately, there's a lot of corruption in amateur boxing. We've seen it. That was obviously a very dark place for you, a dark time, because you've worked all your life, you know what I mean, to get to Rio, and then, you know what I mean, controversial, like we've seen a lot of boxers being screwed, but like, are you happy you came out the other side? And, you know what I mean, obviously, look, we've seen what you've done since, but you're happy you got through that storm, no doubt.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I feel like I was very hard done by in both Olympics. In 2012, I only recently watched that in the first lockdown. So It took me it took me 7 years to watch that back. And when I watched it, I remember thinking, God, I didn't box my best, but I didn't get beat. I didn't lose that fight. And that was for a medal. And then again in Rio, to be honest, I thought I lost the Rio one, but then the scores didn't reflect the fight. Yeah. So I think, when you're working hard, it's with the amateurs, it's, you could absolutely box someone's head off and not get the decision because you're not from the right country. It's disgraceful, to be fair. And you think you work so hard all your life, 4 years. And I remember thinking, why me? Why was it me that, they chose to lose? Because that's what it was like. It was like a potluck. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. It just depends who they want to get through. Yeah.
Do you think it's because, like, the way you're one of the hot favourites going in? So, like, we know who's going to be in the Olympics. We know, like, what amateurs to watch out for. And, you know what I mean? You're tipped for massive success in the Olympics. But do you reckon that's something to do with, like, we've seen something similar to Mickey Conlon, do you know what I mean? Yourself, Mickey, there was many, and it seems then, you know what I mean? It was just, everything went tits up, and it's corruption.
It is. I remember in Rio, in London, Anthony Joshua, in his first round, he boxed a Cuban, and the Cuban absolutely boxed his head off. And Anthony Joshua got the decision, and then obviously he went on to be the champion that he is today. And you think, well, and that Cuban was just forgotten. It's just not fair. It's like who they want to win. That's what it is. I believe in it.
Definitely. Pro ranks, you've been incredible. You have to stop knocking people out though, even though, look, that's all right. That's a beautiful team. But look, big fight, March. How's preparation going? Everything looking good?
It's going really well, yeah. It's going really well. I'm boxing Femke Hermans from Belgium. We went to box last year, actually, probably like a year. So we're quite familiar with each other, training camp wise. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I think she's a very tough competitor. She's only ever been beat off world champion. She's a world champion herself.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very competitive fight.
And it's going to be in Newcastle, you know, a great place. So obviously you're looking forward to getting out in front of all the Newcastle people. Not too far from home, I suppose.
No, 100%. After the response I got last time in October, I'm really looking forward to going back there.
Definitely. Now, I know you're never going to overlook an opponent, right? But look, it was absolutely beautiful to see the way you wound up Claressa Shields. It was magic, right? It was the most viewed video I've seen in a long time. You know, you really got under her skin. First of all, we know the fight's going to happen. Where would be the ideal venue for you? Obviously, you want it in the UK.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not too bothered about venues. I'd love for it to be in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Obviously, city-wise, Newcastle. But definitely, I've did the America thing, like you know yourself. I've got no really ambition of. I know every boxer's dream is to box in America, but like I said, I've did that. So basically, I've ticked that box off. So it's got to be in the UK for me.
And you're a bit of a homebird, yeah? Obviously, you like the home.
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
I am. But speaking of Claressa, look, we know it's going to be easily the biggest female boxing fight of all time. Obviously, it's a fight you know you can take, no problem, and you know it quite well.
Don't get me wrong. I'm under no illusion of how good Claressa is. But I've said all along, I believe I beat Claressa. I really do. I mean, what she's achieved is amazing. But for me at the weekend, Tasha Jonas just showed me how weak them upper weights are. Yeah. I mean, Tasha, the unbelievable world-class boxer that she is, Tasha's a lightweight and she's just stormed through a super weight world contender in 2 rounds. She demolished her. And that girl who she boxes, you know, like I said, a world title contender. She went 10 rounds with Cecilia Brackhouse. She went 10 rounds with Emma Corzine, who Claressa's just boxed, and Tasha just walked through her. So, yeah, like I said, I do think the upper weights are weaker than the lower weights.
No, it's gonna be the biggest female boxing fight of all time. We look forward to that. Hopefully summertime. Last of all, look, I know you're very busy. I know it's hard near in a training camp, but obviously you've seen the Kana Brook fight. Do you think Kell Brook should retire? Do you think he should maybe fight Eubank Jr. or just retire on a high? What would be your call on that?
I thought the fight was unbelievable. I absolutely loved it. I want to watch it again. I thought it was a brilliant fight. I'd like for him to retire on a high.
Yeah.
I seen his after fight interview and he said, I'm going to go and speak to my girls, my wife and my family. I've earned a lot of money, and he has earned a lot of money. And I'd to be honest, Eubank needs Kell more than Kell needs Eubank.
Definitely. And last one, obviously Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Madison Square Garden. Like, what's your take on the fight? Look, it's a tricky fight. A lot of eyebrows being raised with the fight because, look, it is a very, very tough test for Katie Taylor. Do you think she can get through it, or do you think it could be a really tough test for her?
To be honest, I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen anything of Amanda Serrano. I just feel like, I know she's been around forever, and I know she's done a bit of MMA, but I feel like I don't know enough about her. And people are saying it's a tough fight, but Katie's just like a world-class operator. But I will say, I think them 2 Bassoon fights took a hell of a lot out of Katie. And for me, she hasn't looked right since. I went to go and watch her in Leeds, and she was against a Canadian girl, I think. And she didn't look right at all. She didn't look like vintage Katie. And even when she boxed Natasha, I think Natasha's world class anyway. I thought Katie made hard work of it. And with Tasha being the southpaw and Amanda being the southpaw, is this maybe like kryptonite? I don't know. But from going off what everyone else is saying, I think it's going to be a really tough hard competitive fight from them both.
All the best to you and the team. We know you have a big fight. We look forward to the future fights and that blockbuster. And as I said, look, it's an absolute honour. We're proud of you. You're an absolute sensation.
Thank you very much.
And
Thanks for having me.
Slick and smooth the way we like it.
Cheers.
We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You are watching Sports Matters TV.